Hello, welcome to another fight prediction video. This is David Haye versus Tony Bellew. So I know this fight has been announced a while ago and I just never got around to doing the review, so I'm doing it now. I think it's a better idea this time around because they've had a few press conferences. I've listened to people's opinion online, on YouTube and online. A lot of different boxing websites giving their opinions as well, and this was my prediction for the fight. So David Haye is fighting Tony Bellew. From what I can gather, I think it's going to be at heavyweight. Tony Bellew's WBC cruiserweight belt isn't going to be on the line because I don't think David Haye wants to go down back to cruiserweight division, which he was originally started his career at, as everyone does know. He was a former unified cruiserweight world champion. I do know he said a few times about being undisputed, which I don't really. That's wrong because he was WBC, WBO, Ring Magazine cruiserweight champion. He wasn't the IBF champion, so of course in my eyes it doesn't count as being the sort of full champion. Of course it's WBA as well, but he wasn't IBF, so it doesn't count. Anyway, that's a different story. So he's been heavyweight since 2008 onwards. Everyone knows the story about him against Klitschko. A former heavyweight champion as well, made a few defences. He come back last year against two lesser known fighters. I don't remember the people's names, to be honest. I mean, I know they was on TV and he had a couple of knockouts. I think he's done 3 rounds in the last 2 fights, I think, altogether. Maybe more, but I honestly don't know because those fights weren't really worthwhile just to really talk about, to be honest. Now he's fighting Tony Bellew, current WBC cruiserweight champion. They obviously don't like each other. Anyone who watches the press conferences or the interviews online or reads about it, you can clearly tell they don't like each other. Tony Bellew, of course, is known for trash talking a lot of his fights. He's done it against Neville Cleverly twice, David Haye. He beat BJ Flores in his last fight, which is David Haye's friend, from what I can gather. Trash talker as well, so he's always been trash talking. And David Haye is obviously known for his punching power. So for the prediction, I do think David Haye will win. But people would normally assume David Haye would beat Tony Bellew probably 10 times out of 10 if it was a few years ago, which I probably would say. But I do think that this can be, in my opinion, maybe a bit harder due to the fact that David Haye isn't as young as he used to be. He's had quite a lot of years out previously due to injuries and cancelled fights. So I do think age may come up in this fight, but it all depends how well he trains and if he really wants to fight, because sometimes, in my opinion, if people want things bad enough, then they go for it. And as many people also do say as well, the last thing to go in boxing is your punch. David Haye is known for big punching power, so if he can connect on Tony Bellew quite early or at any point in the fight, if he catches him, I do think he can end it, because Tony Bellew has been knocked out before by a big puncher in Adonis Stevenson at light heavyweight back in 2013. I know it's a different sort of scenario, but David Haye is quick and he can punch for a heavyweight, which is quite sort of rare. Heavyweights are either tall and slow, they come forward, or either they're fast and don't really have any power. So David Haye has the sort of both, which is quite good. I'm not sure if this is a catchweight fight or this is actually going to be a heavyweight fight. But if Tony Bellew loses this fight, of course it's a big domestic English fight, so you want to get bragging rights, because in years to come, or even now, people want to say, oh, who won a fight against Tony Bellew versus David Haye? Of course you want to be the victor, you don't want to become the loser. No one remembers people coming second. So if Tony Bellew wins this fight, it'd be a great name on his resume, because he's not young, but he's not already sort of in, I guess you would say he's in his prime, because he's a world champion now. I'm not sure how long he'll be WBC cruiserweight champion after this fight. Who knows, he might campaign at heavyweight, he might go back down to cruiserweight. I'm not really sure. If David Haye wins this fight, he's got a lot of options, because he can fight Anthony Joshua, IBF champion, heavyweight. Who knows, Klitschko might, who knows, because Anthony Joshua fights Klitschko in April. Klitschko wins, who knows, there might be some sort of David Haye Klitschko fight, highly unlikely, but who knows. Tyson Fury might want David Haye, who knows. I mean, I know that was scheduled to fight years ago, and David Haye mucked that up because of his injuries and other things. David Price, There's Deontay Wilder, WBC heavyweight champion. There's a lot of options out there at the minute, which is good to see because the heavyweight division. I know it's not the best it's ever been because there's been bad generations like the 90s, Tyson, 80s, obviously Ali. All those other areas are probably stronger and better than the current generation. But at the minute, it is quite. It's got a lot of fighters in around sort of domestic, European, and world level, like Deontay Chisora, Dillian White, and sort of domestic level. And then you've got sort of European level, Alex Povetkin. I know he's got a lot of drug problems, but there's a lot of different levels in the heavyweight division at the minute for David Haye. Even Tony Bellew, if he decides to go up to heavyweight, highly unlikely because, of course, as I said, he is WBC champion. However, anything could happen. But in the fight, I do think if David Haye can start quick, land clean heavy shots to Tony Bellew, I do think the speed and the power, which is the main factor in this fight, I think, will pay dividends because, of course, Tony Bellew is a tough fighter, but in my mind and a lot of people's mind as well, toughness can only carry you a certain amount of weight because, for example, when I used to do boxing years and years ago, I mean, yeah, I could take a punch and I was fast, but I lacked power. So sometimes when I'd be sparring, I mean, yeah, I could stand there probably for all the time, and I might be able to take all these shots, but if you can't hit someone and make a dent, you just basically become a punching bag. So I know it's a different scenario because I'm not a professional, but I have a sort of rough idea of what it's like to be in a boxing ring. But so yeah, for Tony Bellew to win this fight, he needs to use his weight advantage because he probably will be coming heavier than David Haye. Because David Haye doesn't really look like a heavyweight. He's always, in my mind, sort of been a cruiserweight who has gone up to heavyweight, which of course is done. But sometimes you do see fighters put up in weight and they look the right frame for the weight. But David Haye's never looked like a proper, fully fledged heavyweight. But time will tell. I mean, it's going to be a great fight. I'm definitely going to watch it. Anything could happen. Tony Bellew could rush in there and somehow come up with a great game plan and destroy David Haye. However, David Haye could come in there, comes blazing, throw all his big right hands, power hooks, uppercuts. He could do anything. Go in there and you never know. You might box him and wear Tony Bellew down. Who knows? I think it's a 50-50 fight because, like I said at the start of the video, a couple of years ago, David Haye would win this fight comfortably. However, Tony Bellew is more active, and sometimes being active can pay more dividends. But who knows? I do think David Haye will win this fight by knockout. I'm not sure when. I wouldn't be surprised if it's at the start or the middle of the rounds. I can't really see David Haye knocking him out towards the end because Tony Bellew is tough, but David Haye can hit very hard. And when these people clean flush, there's not many people I've seen stand up to his punches. So, but time will tell. So tune in I think it's March 25th. I could be wrong, but let me know in the comments down below what you think, and I'll if I can, I'll do a review after the fight in March, and then I'll express my opinions and views on there. So I'll see you in the next video.